What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. That is Mike Fuji. I am Al Norfleet, and together we are at the 50 with Fuji and Fleet. Today we were supposed to have the Philly sports guy, but he can't make it. And also out of Washington, D.C., Kelsey Nicole Nelson. She's a little bit under the weather. So Mike and I are going to go at it alone today. And we're going to start out talking about some charity events and volunteer events that Mike is involved, well, we both are involved in, but Mike does a lot of the leg work there because I seem to be always busy all the time. But in any event, Mike's going to talk to you about some of that and trying to find my pictures I just had up. Okay, I see why that's a video clip. So anyway, this is one of the brochures Mike sent me. So talk about that, Mike.
Well, this Sunday it's going to be at Harb's Burger Bar, 8101 Roosevelt Boulevard, right with Gallows Seafood on the boulevard there. It's it's a toy drive they're collecting for the proceeds benefiting the children at St. Christopher's Hospital. They're going to be loading up the Eagles bus, which used to be, it was actually the bus that they drove down in 1980 to the Super Bowl 15, but it never made it. Broke down along the way. But,
okay.
It's from 1 to 5. It's, I'm actually going to be there. I know it's supposed to be cold, and there's going to be a bunch of bands playing there, but, it's a great cause. Everybody come on out, watch the Eagles game. If everybody could just donate a couple toys. It makes a big world of difference this time of year. And, as I did the promo for earlier for it, I'm going to keep putting it out the remainder of the week. If anybody has any questions, please hit me up or, hit Ann up on Facebook. And, it's like I said, Ann Dune, please hit her up. Just come out, check it out. Like I said, we're a week away to Christmas, 6 shopping days, and it's all about the children. And everybody's not everybody's happy this time of year.
Right,
A lot of people have lost family. Some people could be by themselves. Some financially struggling, and the toy, especially for a child, will go the longest way just to put a smile on his face, just to make them happy.
Absolutely.
And this past Sunday, I was with Toys for Tots and Sergeant Toothman and Jen, who organized that. I was helping them out. Donated some toys, met up with them. That was a nice turnout. But, it's all about giving back, and, you never know what somebody's going through this time of year.
Right. And that's this Sunday, the 22nd, from 1 to 5 p.m.
Right.
At Gallows Harry's Bar, 8101 Roosevelt Boulevard.
Right.
So,
Harb's Burger Bar / Gallows Seafood.
Okay,
so come on out, and we'll fill that bus up, and we'll make a whole bunch of children happy, and we'll get that party started. Along with an Eagles victory.
Absolutely.
On the break to clinch the NFC East too, so why not? We'll make it a big party Sunday night.
Absolutely. Now, did you by chance see? It was on the news yesterday, where I guess it was Lane, Kelsey, and Malata. They did something like this, and the proceeds from their Christmas album. And they had a big convoy going to different schools in the city, delivering those toys. So this is along the same line as that.
I didn't see it, but I and my other, where I work, for the city, there's a school called Mill Creek out in West Philly. Jordan Davis showed up with some toys to give out to, some of the kids up there. He did that, and I also seen that N'Kobe Dean and some of his family bought some toys for a family in the Alany section of Philly.
Right.
Just the Eagles are out in full demand. Also, I believe Jalen Hurts did something too as well. So
Yeah.
This Eagles organization is first class from top to bottom. I mean, as you know, Al, you're right there with them. When they go out and go to a recreation center every year
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
spring, and they help build it, and just brings the camaraderie of the rookies, the free agents, the current veterans that have been here for years all together.
Yeah.
I'm sure the people the people that work in the front office, Jeff Lurie, Kelly Roseman,
It's
Don
especially
Smolinski.
when they do the playground bill every spring.
Right.
The entire building shuts down that day, and everybody comes out.
Right, which
So,
is
we
it's
have
great.
8-9 buses, and like I said, like you saying, everybody in that building come out, and somebody's painting, somebody's pouring cement up, putting siding down. So
Right.
yes, they do get involved with the community.
I've also seen them, getting their hands dirty, putting up a playground set, and
oh yeah, absolutely.
Just diving in there, and everybody's helping out, chipping in.
Yeah. And it's really not just the Eagles, but that's the season that we're in, and that's what we're talking about. But I remember several years ago, I think it when Elton Brand. This is when he was still playing
With the Sixers.
Yeah, and he came with the Sixers way before he got into the GM side of it. But he rented a bus one day, and I drove for him, and we went in one of the sections of Philadelphia, took a busload of kids, and we took them out to, I think it was the Target out there right before you get on to 76 off of 476 in that area.
Okay.
And we went shopping in there for the kids and had the kids with us. And then another year, Chris Webber did the same thing. So these guys that come here in this community, they do get involved. They do get involved, and that's a good thing. And I think it's also one of the reasons why this fan base is so passionate about these teams, because they see these guys in the community. They see them trying to help, So that's always a great thing.
Well, another thing, really, forgot to really touch on Lauren Hart last week is, the Flyers Wives Fight for Lives Carnival that's been going on probably since the early 70s after Barry Ashby died of I believe he had leukemia. But, they were always, they had it at the Spectrum and then the Wells Fargo.
Right.
For years. And, that was always just, went to that a couple times. It was it's amazing, just the money. I know they've raised a ton of money over the years for leukemia, and also, the Phillies do, or I think they have done it, but they used to do Lou Gehrig's disease for ALS.
Right.
Usually have, when I worked for the Phillies, I volunteered to, help out there, with the, you would be partnered up with a player, if they needed anything, just to escort them and stuff. And, it's just, it's like you said, it's always the Eagles actually, and I believe you probably remember this. They used to do a youth carnival down at the vet, but I don't think they did it at the link. But, now they raise all this money for the autism.
Yeah.
The bike race. I think you could bike, walk, run.
Cycle, yeah.
Actually, when I might get in touch with Mary Ann, maybe try to get, because back on 9/11, she recruited me to help out, to put some some food together for some less fortunate people for 9/11.
Right.
But, so I would like to get involved with that more. But hey, anybody watching, if anybody needs, try to promote something, some charity work. Also I did, some volunteering for that Feast of Justice up here in Northeast Philly.
Mm-hmm.
Sackett and Tyson, and they got a location over 6,400 Castor Avenue. So if anybody needs any type of charity, be happy to help out with whatever it is. Fundraisers, just to put the word out. Because you never know when what anybody's going through. Everybody's struggling in some capacity today.
Absolutely.
But Al and I were very happy to help out in any way. Feel free to reach out to us, inbox us. But it's that time of year where it is tough for a lot of people. And
yeah, absolutely. And like you said earlier, it's supposed to be a merry time, but everybody's not merry. We don't know what the person next to us is going through.
Right.
And like you say, kids are a different breed of human beings because they look forward to these things.
Right.
Toys and stuff makes them happy, especially when they're small. And when they have a lot of things going on within their home, their household,
right.
And it makes them sad. I mean, even though kids are very resilient, but they have feelings just like the adults do, and they see things for whatever it is going on. It makes them sad. And then top it off with this time of the year.
Right.
And if they don't have anything, they're not looking forward to get anything, then that's a little bit more sadness on a child's heart, in a child's brain, and they shouldn't have to go through that for what us adults are going through. They need to be kids. So anything that you can give to help. So even if it's one child, that's one child that you have helped out.
Right, exactly. And it's talking to the one gentleman last Sunday, and they're trying to gather books, just to educate children, not just toys, but books of, so they could, let their minds grow, not just playing with toys all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, you get caught up in all this, all these electronics today. Everybody's either on your phone 9 times out of 10, on your laptop. Reading a book, I mean, that'll make a child's mind grow, and they'll want to have more. Just feed them books. I mean, it'll grow their knowledge so much.
Absolutely. And we just need to try to have as much as we can to take their focus off the don't haves.
Right.
Give them some hope, and that helps them to grow as well. So
Absolutely.
Again, Mike, give out that address one more time.
It is Harv's Burger Bar this Sunday, 1 to 5, 8101 Roosevelt Boulevard. They'll be filling up that Eagles bus from the year 1980 going down. They want to fill the whole thing. We'll fill it, and then we'll celebrate the Eagles NFC East title. So if everybody could come out 1 to 5, I'll be there helping out. As I said, it was 8101 Roosevelt Boulevard, Harv's Burger Bar, along with Ann Dune. If you want to get in touch with her, Ann's on my Facebook page. It's come out, watch the Eagles game, bring a couple gifts. Everybody eat, drink, be merry, celebrate the birds, wear your Eagles gear, fill that bus, and we're going to root the birds on the victory. NFC East champs. That's the first step we'll get to. And, Christmas is here, and, let's make the best of it, and go Birds.
Go Birds. All right, good deal, good deal. Now, let's talk a little bit about this past Sunday. Uh, Playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, beating the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right.
So, as you know, I was there because I brought the Steelers in. But it was a great game. I think,
Mhm.
and I'm so glad that the passing game came along because it was a rough week here in Philadelphia because of that. So what are your thoughts with all the noise that was going on last week, Mike?
Well, I'll say this: the Eagles' passing game has kind of been, it was all Saquon, Saquon, Saquon. Like the running game is there. Now you're 3 weeks left of the season. You got the division foes coming in. Now this game, all right, you almost had a clunker with Carolina, but this team fought hard to win that game in Baltimore. We were both there. I had a feeling they were going to come. I mean, Carolina's been playing pretty solid. They took Kansas City, down to the wire about 2-3 weeks ago. They lost in overtime to Tampa the week before us. And, like I get back to what I was saying, the Eagles were like fourth or fifth from the bottom in passing. It was just, the defense ranked number one. I mean, we could get into that after, but this offense needed to come out against a perennial Super Bowl team. Like, not only did they beat Baltimore, they beat Pittsburgh, which who knows? You get to the big dance, anybody could get in. You throw the regular season down the toilet, out the window, whatever you want to call it. But this team everybody needed to get on the same page. This was the dress rehearsal. Now you go in, you go down DC, you blow them out of the water, you make a statement, you win the division, smoke Dallas. Let Saquon get the record against his old team if it's possible. Get that number one seed. Hopefully, Detroit, Minnesota, that's a dogfight for that division.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's going to come down to the last game with those two. But, Detroit, I mean, that running game between David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs was, to me, I think that was the bread and butter of that offense. But you lose David Montgomery for the year, that's a big blow to that run game.
Right.
And they'll, I think the Eagles are going to Super Bowl. I'm not being a homer. This team's clicking on all cylinders. Fangio's got this defense playing lights out. Quentin Mitchell is the rookie defensive player of the year. If he doesn't get it, it's a disgrace because nobody will throw to that man's side.
Right.
Zach Bond better be rewarded. Jalen Carter's playing out of his mind. Nakobe Dean's coming into his own. This team is on the brink. But getting back to all of it, forgot about getting hyped. This team, I mean, this was the game to get on everybody on the same page. Goddard's out. Grant Calcaterra's been stepping in, playing a nice tight end. Like Jalen came out and said that's what you wanted to see, basically. My quarterback came out, said it, defied the odds, shut the critics up in this town. So, now's the time, like I said, get everybody on the page. Bulldoze the next 3 games. Let's get that first round bye. Get everybody healthy. And the road to the NFC is coming through Philly, down at the Combat Zone at the Link. You'll be there. I'll be there. Let's get it rocking, rolling right now, Big Al. I'm ready to go.
Absolutely. All right, now let me ask you this. All right, Minnesota is 12-2. So is the Eagles,
and so are the Lions,
and so is the Lions. Now, 3 games left. Okay, in your opinion, realistic, like I said, don't be a homer. Realistic. what are the chances of the Eagles getting the number 1 seed?
Well, I don't know about Minnesota, which should probably look that up, but I know Detroit has the one conference loss. The Eagles got 2 losses.
Mm-hmm. That's the tiebreaker going to Detroit.
Right. But Minnesota, I know Minnesota and Detroit played the last game of the year, I believe, in Detroit. Now, I know Detroit has to go play Chicago this week. Then they got a Monday night game the following week out in San Fran. Let's see if we can you pull up Minnesota's remaining schedule? If not, I could find it.
Okay.
I got it here. Minnesota plays Seattle this week at 4:00. They play the Packers at home the following week, and they go to Detroit. So, Minnesota's technically playing Seattle's right behind Green Bay. And, they're battling either for the NFC West with the Rams, or they're right in the thick of that for that 7 seed going into the NFC standings here. And,
right.
I mean, if I want to say this, and I know I've said this, that these division games are tough. I mean, the Eagles control their own destiny right now. I know it's cliche, but, don't matter, like I said, don't matter if a team is the upper echelon of the class of the division or they're at the scraping the bottom of the barrel. No matter what division, these division rivalries are always a heavyweight fight.
Absolutely.
So the Eagles can't come out and lay down at any of these teams. You need to just, play. You got to just come out, take care of business. We could use every cliche possible, but the Eagles got to just control their own thing. And I don't know. I just don't. I think, in a way, the wheels are maybe falling off. I mean, Detroit has all these injuries.
Yeah,
they lost the D-back.
Yeah.
They lost another lineman, defensive lineman. And I don't know. Minnesota, I don't trust Sam Darnold to save my life. I mean, kudos to him for having a great year, but I think if you and me had Justin Jefferson to throw to all day, we'd be better than what we look to. But, to me, Minnesota and me always finds a way to choke. Detroit, they got a bad taste in their mouth, but I think the wheels are falling off.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the Eagles, the Eagles on fire for the last 10 weeks. It's just, last you came out, you dropped the hammer. I thought it was going to be, less than a touchdown against Pittsburgh. The Eagles just came out, dropped the hammer, kicked their ass up and down the field. And, they took care of business and they needed to win. Now you just got to keep the train going. You can't stop. You can't take your foot off the brake. You just got to keep going. Everybody's got to eat. Just keep AJ, Smitty, Barkley, just keep doing what you're doing.
And see, I think this week we're actually starting today because today is Wednesday, and this is the first of the work week as far as practice is concerned for all NFL teams.
Right.
And so as they hit the practice field today, tomorrow, and do their walkthrough Friday, sometime Saturday, but I think this is where coaching is going to win the game or lose the game for you. Because especially after such a high physical, emotional game against Pittsburgh last week, the coaches have to make sure to motivate these guys. The team leaders have to make sure that they motivate these guys. And, people still have all kinds of doubts because, for whatever reason, nobody particularly cares a whole lot for Jalen. And even though he had a great game, I'm sure there are a tremendous amount of doubters out there this week. And so everybody, like you said, has got to be on point. They got to be motivated. They got to be strong and bring all of that onto the field with them this week because, as you say, division foe, we know each other well. And so you got to bring the will to win in there and not let the narrative of, okay, well, they know us. So no excuses.
Well, Washington's fighting for that last playoff spot right now. So, they want a little payback, from being up here last month. So, you got to take it. You can't take your foot off the brake.
No, not
take
at
your
all.
foot off the gas. I mean, you got to keep this thing going. I mean, these young guys, Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, N'Kobe Dean, not Nolan Smith. I mean, these guys, Jordan Davis, some of these guys played in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Well, except for DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell, but I'm sure that left. I mean, between losing, you were on the brink of winning a Super Bowl 2 years ago. Then the debacle last year. Now it's just a whole new different culture as far as Fangio with that defense. Just it's like day and night from last year. You dropped 6 out of your last 7 last year, and you won 10 in a row now. And it's just, I think these guys, that Slay taking DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell under his wing, and just, I think these guys the guys that Howie drafted are just
Big Money Sonny just chimed in, so can't wait to see the Eagles get. Oh wow, okay, Big Money Sonny. It's not going to happen, brother. It's not going to happen. Now, also looking at these, I seen a clip the other day of the Georgia guys. They are pretty close. They hang together. They had this thing on. I forget what it was called, but their championship season there at Georgia is now, coming to fruition here, where they are playing like they want it. They are playing like they, really got to have it. So hoping that continues on. And this guy, Carter, this guy's turning out to be a beast, man. He is a beast. He just got to hone in his temperament. Once he hones that in, matures a little bit more, he's going to continue to be a beast.
A little dramatics on the sideline after, the penalty and Sirianni going after him. But, I'll say this, and Seth Joyner, I think the man tells it like it is. Out of anybody, any Eagles analyst, it's probably the closest. So Jalen Carter's probably the closest player that he reminds him of Jerome Brown.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you could see it. It's just he's dominating, getting double teamed. Just, Jerome could stop the run, collapse that pocket, get in that backfield. You can just – you see those traits of Jalen Carter. This man's playing out of his mind. And, he's, barring injury for years to come, that man's going to be a staple on that defensive line for years to come.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they talk about, they see flashes of him playing like Aaron Donald. But I think you can see some Reggie White in him too, but
yeah.
I mean, he wasn't the number one pick, 2 year, not the last season for nothing.
Yeah. And also, number 3 is coming around too.
Oh yeah,
he's coming around really good.
Well, I bashed Howie. You traded his son Reddick, 27 sacks in 2 years. Like, who's going to pick up the slack? Shane BG. I mean, he's definitely being there for moral support firing these guys up on the sideline, getting in their ear, being that 12th man, just, when he's just bringing his knowledge, one of the greatest plays in Eagles history to hit on Tom Brady. And, he's, motivating. And
Yeah.
you gotta say to Sirianni too. It's, this man was, we were all ready to take him to the airport. And, you look at his post-game speeches in the locker room. Everybody's buying in. They love his speeches. They're sticking behind him. You don't see no, of course, winning cures all, but I mean, you got to give the guy credit where it's due. He's keeping us, Fangio's defense is lights out. Hopefully Kellen Moore will just keep calling the right plays this week and, just keep, the run sets up the pass, keep that offensive attack balanced.
Absolutely.
And, just like I said, keep that train riding and keep that gas keep that foot on the accelerator and let's go.
Yeah. Because, with the talent that we have, it's no guarantee that everybody's going to be back there next season. Every season, every team changes dramatically, and there may be some guys, and I think Milt Williams is one of them, that is going to need a contract,
Well, you got Zach.
Yeah, and some of the other guys too. Exactly.
Zach Bond, I mean, how he made the mistake of letting TJ Edwards go. But Chicago didn't even really pay him much.
Right.
I mean, I don't think he's going to make that same mistake. I believe Darius Slay's playing on his last contract. So, I mean, that secondary should be good for years to come between DeJean. Kaylee Ringo's another guy that's underrated.
Yeah.
I mean, this defense is. I mean, if I were Brandon Graham, I hope he does come back one more year.
Well,
I mean, what's your take? I know we discussed this the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as a player, I don't think any player would like to go out this way.
No, not at all.
And Brandon was very much playing at a high level still this year.
Right. High motor, playing 15 years, and he's out there playing like he's 25 again.
Absolutely. And like you said, 15 years playing like that, you get hurt. He has a big decision to make whether or not he wants to come back. And even if he does, I'm sure it's still going to be on a 1-year basis.
Oh, of course.
Because of the age and everything. And everybody knows you can't keep playing that way year after year when you're getting up there in age. But for whatever reason, he still got it this year. So I really hate to see him go out this way. So I really would like to see him come back, not just for the play alone, but also for his personality, his leadership. He's love in this city. Did you see the interaction between him and Tom Brady?
Yeah, when he snuck up behind him.
Yeah,
they were having a couple laughs. Yeah, that was great.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, he just coming off surgery, and he's out there, sneaking up on Brady, grabbing him, and still laughing about it.
Yeah. Brandon is one of those people that he's loved no matter what. He's loved, And the thing is, it didn't start out this way because they was on him something fierce the first couple of years, 3 years,
Well, right. And everybody, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank with the safety. I usually never forget a player's name. Oh, shame on me. I forget. He got. We gave him the business the first couple of years.
Absolutely.
Here's another guy that doesn't seem to know when to retire, but I'll take my hat off to him, even though he played for Dallas and just bounced around. And you probably know him firsthand for driving for the Eagles for years, Jason Peters.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I mean, I think he was signed earlier in the season, but I don't know if he's still playing or he's out of the league. But
yeah. Like I said, I remember seeing him early in the season, but I haven't seen him recently.
I mean, you talk about a guy that tore his Achilles at least twice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, an ACL. Like, what? Let me ask you. You probably know him. You know, all those years. Like, what's his demeanor like? I mean, is he just?
Well, I mean, he was quiet. He was, unless you was in his inner circle,
Right.
you know, he didn't have a lot to say. I guess the best way to describe him is a gentle giant.
Right.
You know, he was quiet, but he could be fierce. Well, he was feared a lot, and him. I was here his whole career. I was here Trey Thomas' whole career. Brandon Graham whole career. So, you know, the Eagles has had some really quality people along with great quality football players.
Right.
And Jason Peters was one of them. Like I said, Trey Thomas was one of them. There was another guy that played center back in the days. I think he's coaching somewhere now. Hank Farley.
Hank Farley, yeah,
Yeah.
Was a center, you know, on the 2004 Eagles team.
Yeah. 2004. Yeah. And I seen him somewhere on the sideline. I think it was this year, either last year.
I think he's with Cleveland. I think.
No, not Cleveland, because Cleveland has been here this year, and I definitely would have seen him. I was thinking maybe Detroit, but I know it was a team in a blue uniform.
That might sound right.
Yeah. But I've been around a lot of those guys for a long time, and I have never seen any of those guys be anything less than a stand-up man, stand-up person, you know. So the Eagles has been fortunate to get quality guys like that. Every team don't get guys like that, you know.
Right. Well, you know, a lot of guys like, you know, another guy that's flies under the radar with Brandon Graham is Lane Johnson.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you know, absolutely. Lane did. I think he did some seminar the other night with Rob Motti, who we had on briefly earlier this year. I think they were doing something about mental health and depression, and you know, Lane went through it a couple of years ago.
Yes, I remember that.
He's kind of been like an advocate. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Advocate, yeah.
I think he's been like public speaking like that for the last couple of years, you know, because he suffered a couple of years ago through it.
Right.
Like right after the Super Bowl. And, you know, I talk about another guy that's playing hurt these years, you know, torn thigh muscle, you know, played through it. I mean, it's another guy that's been in the trenches and wars, you know, that's been here a long time. But, you know, I don't know how much. I think he might have another year or two on his contract, but hopefully he could stick around with Brandon Graham and finish his career here. Yeah. I think the only concern I do have with this Eagles team, and I don't know what's going on with Jake Elliott this year. I know he's not the only kicker in the NFL. I mean, who knows what Justin Tucker down in Baltimore, who's been like the best kicker in the NFL for years, but I don't know where Jake Elliott's psyche is, but I mean, if there was like any Achilles heel to this team, I would probably have to say the kicking game, which I hate to admit because, you know, Jake Elliott, the 61-yarder back in 2017 really started that run to the Super Bowl.
Right.
And the guy's been lights out for the last 7-8 years. But I think if you were to take any negative, I wouldn't say fully, but I think Jake Elliott is a concern slightly. But if you were to have to find like I said, the wrench and to throw a wrench into the mix,
right.
would be the kicking game. I don't know if you know Jake Elliott.
Yeah. He's been around a while.
Right.
The thing about that is, and not just Jake Elliott, but like you said, other kickers the same.
Right.
But one thing that I've noticed this season, everything that the Philadelphia Eagles have been going through, low passing game, low production here and that, it's really been league wide. This has been a strange NFL season, an NFL year, because a lot of the top notch hasn't been there for different teams like it was last year. And so I don't know where it's just something in the universe, but a lot of teams are going through different things, but I mean, we don't know how they act in other cities because we're not there.
Right.
But here in Philadelphia, if it's not right, man, they're getting crucified,
Oh yeah.
But it's happening league wide. And
I think not to call you off, I think the running game's kind of being revolutionized again.
Yes.
Tight ends are not getting. You don't see like a lot of big numbers from tight ends this year. You have seen over the last couple of years. It's been pass. But really, if you go to free agency, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, we're free agents. I'm sure there's a couple other ones I'm not thinking of, but it's been run. It's like the old smash mouth NFC's football. You're winning games with the running game and old school defense. It seems like that's coming back, and that's what always won Super Bowls: running games and defenses. Which you're seeing like a turn of going back old school.
Yeah. I guess trend just changes for NFL. I guess just like it does for any other sports or anybody else. And once something starts for whatever reason, it catches on with everybody, or So, but it has been a very strange NFL year.
Oh, like I said, tight ends, were just probably within the last 10 years, tight ends were getting a lot of targets, being targeted a lot, and receivers, whether it's Justin Jefferson, Deebo Samuel, Jamar Chase, just to name CD Lamb, AJ, Devontae. It was pass, but now the smash mouth football is coming back. At least it did this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And,
hopefully, and the running backs deserve to get paid.
Yeah. It was almost as if they were a dying breed there for a few years.
Well, I mean, I'm sure. I want to thank the Maras and the Giants front office for giving us a nice Christmas gift. Also, I want to thank the Jets for. There's another guy the Eagles have to reconsider signing. Mekhi Becton.
Yes.
I mean, a guy flying under the radar. The guy stepped in. Right guard. Was drafted number 1 a couple years ago. He's only 25 years old. Howie threw $5 million at him. Stalin University has, resurrected his short career, and I think Becton will get signed because he could be the successor to Lane Johnson.
Yeah.
Zach Bond, but no, not to get into the offseason, but the Eagles do got to got some issues to address in the off season.
Absolutely, especially a situation like this with Mackay, right? He's
Right.
been playing out of his mind.
Right.
But then you got people there that has been there
All
that
right.
is coming up to be paid. And so if you pay this guy,
Mm-hmm.
don't pay somebody else. You know, I mean, look at Saquon. You
Right.
know, they paid Daniels, didn't pay him, you know. So Howie has his work cut out for him this all season.
Well,
That is for sure.
Howie's a master of the cap. I'm sure he could, like you said, Milton Williams. There's Milton Williams, Zach Bond, Mekhi Becton. I'm sure there's, Dallas Scott. I don't think Dallas Goedert's really worth the money. To me, he's always hurt. I think,
Mhm.
I'm kind of surprised the last couple of years we really didn't. I know they drafted Greg Calcaterra a couple of years ago, but I
Right.
think he's showing flashes.
Mhm.
He could be coming into his own, but I think he either got to go out and get another tight end. But because to me, Goddard's always hurt, and I don't
Right.
think he's worth $15 million to pay him.
Mhm.
It's a shame because I know I'll probably get ridiculed for this, but I would have I'd bring Zach Ertz in. All right,
Mhm.
maybe I'm living in the past. Maybe one of the greatest catches ever in Eagles, of course, in
Right.
Eagles history. And hey, if Washington don't sign, I'd go after him. I
Mhm.
mean, he's resurrected his career with Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
I know he's questionable this week, but
You
I don't
know,
know.
let me tell you this little small story with Zach
Mm-hmm.
when they was here a few weeks ago.
Right.
You know, as soon as he walking down the
Tunnel.
steps from the plane,
Right.
he sees me. He comes over, gives me a hug, and we just chit chat a little bit. But after the game,
Mm-hmm.
where we out there waiting on players to come get on the bus, he comes up there. He said, "Man, you don't know what it's like to come to a city that you used to play for, and the first person you see is Big Al. And now I'm getting ready to
Nice.
get on the plane. The last person I'm seeing is Big Al." So
Wow.
I mean, we sat there for a while, talked about our families. He was saying when he left here, he didn't have any kids, and now he's about to have his third. You know,
Wow. That's
so
great.
Zach,
Oh,
he's a good dude. Good
I
dude.
I'll tell you this. I know he's got his own charity.
Yeah, him and his wife both. Yeah,
Yeah, and hey, if you could ever get in his ear, if you see him, like maybe we could do something with their charity.
yeah.
Matter of fact, I think his mom is involved in that too.
hmm
I'm not mistaken.
I really got to find someone to help us to get this 501c because they say it's very hard to get, and it
Really.
takes somebody that has one to be able to help you out. So
Hmm.
we need to start looking into that because
Maybe, hopefully,
yeah,
some never knows watching. Maybe if anybody knows of some, it's a tax. Well, it is. It's a tax.
yeah, it has something to do with taxes, and you cannot accept any charities without having a 501c.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe somebody out there watching a replay could know somebody or help us walk us through how to go through the proper channels to get that because Al and myself we would definitely we're trying to get involved with what we did with Toys for Tots. We're getting involved with the St. Christmas thing this Sunday, and I'd like to get more with that Feast of Justice, that food bank, and
Right.
keep growing it out. I mean, hey, if there's somebody's always either looking for volunteers or whatever.
Yeah.
Red
Yeah.
Red Cross, United Way,
Mhm.
just
And not only that, but plus the fact that once we have it, then we can start to looking at sponsors. You
right.
know, because I mean, I enjoy what I'm doing. I'm sure that you do.
Oh
but
yeah.
we also would like to be able to make something out of this, and
Oh, of
when
course.
you
Let it.
can do things that you enjoy,
Right.
it shouldn't all have to be just because I enjoy it. Some
Right.
people probably get on me for saying that, but we enjoy what we're doing, but we also want to make something out of it.
Well, giving back, that's what matters. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
nobody thinks, it's not all about materials. It's never knowing somebody needs help.
absolutely.
I mean, today and the way this economy is, you look in the city, I work in Center City. It's sad. I ride the L and it's,
Hmm.
you see these addicts, you see homeless. It's a mess. And you
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
bad. Like, I
and,
mean,
and
you can't give them money because I guess
mhm.
you can, but we're 9 times out of 10 where that's going to go. I'd rather
Right.
buy somebody a hot cup of coffee and a sandwich.
Hmm.
At least they're going to eat something.
Yeah, and it's not just older people.
Well,
There are a lot of young people.
all
Now,
right,
sometimes if we have a convention in town, and sometimes our buses have to run back and forth to different hotels to the convention center
right,
uh, at night. And I've seen this with my own eyes. This is not
mm,
what somebody told me, but at night, that convention center there on 12th Street under the overhang there,
right, exactly. I
that
know
is
where it is.
filled with so many young people out there sleeping on cardboards
I believe it.
and with blankets. And when I say young, I'm talking about teens,
Right,
20s, 30s, not just 40 and 50, but teens, 20, 30s are
right,
out there sleeping under the convention center. So there is a need for people to help. And like you said, we can't always give money, but there's always a way that we can help.
right. I mean, you don't know, even if you could brighten up one child's day or one person's day.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, you don't know how long, you don't know how far that goes.
absolutely. Okay, let's get back to some football here, Mike. Like I said, we're going down to Washington this weekend.
Can
Um,
you,
what are you thinking of
I just
the outcome?
I think the Eagles win, but you got to just stick to the script. I mean,
Hmm.
Washington barely just beat New Orleans. I don't know why I'm ready to say St. Louis. I'm thinking of the Saints, St.
Hmm.
Louis Saints.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
they squeaked that out. I mean, they
Mm.
were up like 14-0, and they let our New Orleans back in the game. I didn't see it, but I think the last seems like ever since the Eagles played Washington, they've been kind of like struggling.
Hmm.
Dallas beat them in overtime right after the Eagles, and but they're still a tough team. I mean, they're
Yeah, yeah,
fight.
absolutely.
You know, Jaden Daniels more than likely right now could be Rookie of the Year. I think
Hmm.
his play has he's been hurt. I think some teams like Fangio probably figured out that scheme, but they're right in the wild card hunt. They want to get that organization back on track from the Dan Snyder era.
Right,
Our buddy
right.
Josh Harris, who wants his 76th place. Take it to Camden. That'll be a mess. I don't even want to get into that
Yeah.
garbage.
All right. Well, let's go to another game, Mike.
All right.
Uh, game team that we just played the last 2 weeks. Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens this weekend. How do you see that going?
I mean, I think this game is Saturday, and it's coming down to the division. Well, I know Pittsburgh squeaked that out last time. Last time they played, and I don't know. Maybe I I just think Baltimore is not. offensively, with Derrick Henry, they're great, but I just think that defense, ever since they lost Patrick Queen last year to Pittsburgh, I just don't think Baltimore's the same team. A lot of pressure on Lamar. They were one game away from the Super Bowl, but I don't care how many MVPs Lamar Jackson wins. He just, it's not just him, it's that whole team. But I just think Pittsburgh's going to win that division. All right.
Okay.
How about yourself?
Well, I'm the way I think about things is each week is a different week.
Right.
And it all depends on what energy you bring this weekend, even with the Eagles, It all depends on the energy that you bring into Sunday or Saturday, whenever you're playing.
Right.
And like I said earlier, the coaches will win or lose this game Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, based on how they motivate these players and based on the scheme that they're going against. Because, like you said, as far as the Eagles concerned, we just got to keep the script. But sometimes the script don't work. We got to go with what the defense is giving or dictating. And that's where I think the coaches can play a big role in having, which I'm sure they do, plan A, plan B, plan C, and don't wait to have time to make an adjustment.
Right. So, let me ask you this. I know you're not in the meeting rooms. You're not behind the scenes, but do you ever, in all the years being with the Eagles, whether you're going down to Baltimore or going down to DC, up to New York, do you see the demeanor of this team, like, without all the X's and O's, like the camaraderie, like, last year, it was just, I think these guys just, not to bring it up again, but I think these, but just,
I know what you're trying to ask.
do you see it just being around these guys? Not just picking them up and making it, just it's a business trip.
It depends on the situation that we're in.
Right.
And I say this, for instance, before the seasons begin, every year we go bowling. Well, I take them bowling.
Okay.
And they done been on the field. I think this is doing OTAs. They've been on the field doing what they got to do. And so now it's still a competitive situation because everybody trying to outbowl everybody,
Right.
But this is where I see the camaraderie, on full display.
Right.
Because the bowling alley is shut down. There's nothing but the Philadelphia Eagles in there. And I think we had 7, 8 buses in there, and a lot of people, even Howard Roseman, he's in there bowling. I've seen everybody bowl. I haven't seen Mr. Lurie bowl yet. But even Howard is in there. Coach is in there bowling. So the guys are bonding and building relationship at these type of things. Like I say again, we got the playground bill. That's more of a show of force for the community. They doing things for the community. But when you out there at the I guess you can consider that as building a bond too. But when you out there bowling together and just you guys, no outside forces there, and that is another good bonding situation. And you see the jokes, you see the hugging, the high five, and all of that.
Right.
But when it comes to games and after a game, and I've said this many times, and I haven't seen any difference yet. they spend so much physical and emotion energy out there on that field
Right.
that when they get inside of that locker room, do those showers, and they come out, the earphone goes on, and they sit back in that bus. Whatever's in their mind is under those earphones.
Right.
I can only speak for my bus, or of course, my bus, because I've got all the coaches. No
Right.
players like to ride with the coaches for whatever reason.
Now, let me ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you probably get it maybe 100 times, 1,000 times. All right, so this past Sunday, everything's all good in Eagleville, Eagles Nation locker room. Now, do you ever get it? Let me think, because I'm like, now, do you see AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts interact a lot, or you just it's probably
Well, I
just
mean,
hard?
just as walking out of the stadium,
Right,
because like I say, uh, players don't really ride with me.
right,
I got all the coaches, and especially nowadays, like this weekend, we going to
mm-hmm,
Washington, right?
mm-hmm,
Okay, there's going to be my bus with all the coaches, and then in the middle, there's going to be three other buses,
mm-hmm.
and the players that get on those buses, and then there are buses behind those buses, more staff, Howie, Eskin, Merle Reese, Mike Quick. They'll be on 405 and things of that nature.
Right,
So I can only speak from seeing them walk out of the stadium, and sometimes they walk out together. But I guess to answer your question, I have never seen any negative action,
right,
reaction, or emotions directed towards each other,
right.
uh, you know, in my presence.
Well,
I
I
haven't
know
seen
they're. I mean, from what I learned, they're best friends, and
that. Mm-hmm.
Jalen is AJ Brown's son's godfather. So,
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
see, that what got me about last week. Everybody made such a big thing.
of
I
course,
mean, AJ was asked a question. He said
mm-hmm.
one word, passing.
Passing.
Now, I understand the media and especially WIP is a sports talk show,
Right.
and they have to talk. And
Mm-hmm.
so they'll take whatever they need to take and twist it however they need to twist it
And
to
run
keep
with
their
it.
ratings up.
Of course.
Uh,
Of course.
but the bottom line is, do you have any brothers?
No, I'm an only child.
Okay. Well, families that have one kid, I mean, two kids, three kids, whatever the case may be,
Right.
everybody's not going to get along every day 24/7,
Of course.
365,
Right.
you know. And it is no difference
Mm-hmm.
in a sports team,
Mm-hmm.
even though you're all working for one common bond, one common goal,
Right.
but everybody can't be happy all the time. And let's say I'm Jalen, I'm the quarterback. Okay.
Man.
And even though like you said, the run game has been very successful. And
Right.
so that cut down some of the passing plays.
Right. It
Now,
overshadowed.
some of the ones that they did have, yes, Jalen didn't always have his best game. He
Right.
has some misses, he has some overthrows, you know,
Right.
but they are a team,
Mm-hmm.
which means they are a family.
Right.
And I've never seen a family that did not have something going on between people in that family.
Right.
So that's how I look at it. But like I say, you and I doing this, we're part of the media, but we're not part of the national media.
Right.
We're not part of the Philadelphia media there within
Mm-hmm.
the confines of the NFL. But everybody got opinions on everything. And
Of course.
I understand that
Right.
they got to sell their radio show, their talk show and stuff. And Hell, I wish I can sell this one.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
But yeah, it's maybe I'm just a different dude when I look at it like that, because everybody in the world was, upset last week because what AJ said and then what Brian Graham said, but it's just a family
Of
having a
course.
squabble. Now they
Well,
squatted away last week because everybody was on the same page. Now everybody's saying, well, do you think it's going to remain that way? Probably not, because you still got human beings.
of
And
course.
somebody's not going to be happy with this, somebody's not going to be happy with that. But in Jalen Hurts' word, as long as you keep the main thing, and go out there and accomplish that goal. That's how I look at it, man.
No, it's just it. Everybody's
Yep.
going for the same thing, but the camaraderie has to be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're not on the same page, and hey, it's just like any
And
other.
that's everybody, not just the players, but the coordinators, the head coach,
Right.
the building, how everybody got to be on the
Of course.
same page in order to achieve that goal of bringing another Super Bowl trophy and ring to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Amen. Damn straight.
Absolutely. So, with that being said, we said we was gonna, do a little bit, but like I said, you get to talk and things get to flowing. It's been an hour already.
All right. No guess, and we just
Absolutely. I had a great time. I think it was a good show,
Yeah, great show. I mean, the camaraderie, we went from having 2 guests and no guests, unfortunately. Hopefully Phillsportsguy can come back, reschedule, and hopefully Kelsey Nicole Nelson will, get better.
Yeah, I told her whenever she gets better and she feels she has the time to let us know. So we be glad to have her.
Especially we're seeing, the Washington Commanders in any type of, playoff capacity.
Yeah.
Coming down the road, within the next few weeks. But hey, now I feel like I'm kind of interviewing you because, like you see, you don't see the stuff exactly behind the scenes, but you're there. I don't want to, not like you're there all the time, but it's just, you just tell me, you just put out there what you see or whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think the Eagles it's supposed to be cold. I mean, I actually was going to try to get into that game, but I'm kind of glad I'm not now.
Yeah, I think it's the highest is going to be in the 20s, I believe.
Right, and just glad giving a hand with the St. Chris's toy drive, and just to be just to get back to that.
Yeah,
it's a great feeling to get involved with it. But like we said before we get out of here, I mean, if anybody, what is it? That tax form, Al?
501c. 501c.
If anybody knows of anybody or can willing to help us out, please message us. And if anybody needs any help, charity work, putting the word out there, don't hesitate. Be happy to help out. And again, like I said, it'll be at Harb's Burger Bar this week. If anybody could please drop a toy off, multiple toys, come for the Eagles game, have some drinks, have something to eat. We'll be there from 1 to 5. We'll be loading up the Eagles bus here. I'm sure you can have your picture. You can have your picture taken with Santa. Get a picture in front of the bus. I'll be there along with Ann, Dune, some other folks will all be helping out. So, drop us a line, whatever. Hope to see you. Come on out. Let's root the birds on. Bring some toys. Hang out, watch the game, and watch the birds clinch the NFC East title.
Absolutely. With that being said, I want to thank you, Mike. What a great show. And anybody that tuned in, thank you so much. And this has been At the 50 with Fuji and Fleet. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to us, and keep hanging in there with us there, all right?
Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and one more thing, go Birds!
Go Birds. And also, one thing we keep forgetting to say every week is about the Atlanta-Delphia down there in Atlanta, Georgia. We got a group down there that follows the Eagles, so hopefully some of you guys will listen today. If not, you'll catch it on the replay, but we appreciate you.
Atlanta-Delphia, Eagles Extreme, and Eagles Mania, thank you. We appreciate it. Go Birds. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
All
we'll
right.
See you.
All right. Thank you, man.
We're out.